Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Bleach Chapter 536 review. So, listen, man. This week's chapter of Bleach, another simple, straightforward chapter of Bleach. It's right there for you on the panel, to be honest. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick, and then, of course, I have my thoughts on this chapter, obviously. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick overview or a quick summary of the entire chapter. And then, after that, I'm going to go into a review portion, and then we're going to call it a review. So this review should, key term, should be relatively quick by my standards, alright? So basically, the chapter, what it is that Urahara Kisuke successfully completes the soul unification of Ishin and Masaki. And then after Ishin actually defeats the inner hollow in Misaka's inner world, inner realm, then she's healed, she's safe, and her life is no longer in danger. And then at the same time, Ryuken leaves, and he's walking in the rain, very lonesome, very depressed, and or at least he appears that way. And I'm not gonna lie, Kubo. I'm not really too angsty on the art a lot of times. But he did a good job about that, in my personal opinion. The way he drew the rain, and we can see, we don't see his eyes when it comes to Ryuken, but you could tell he's legitimately sulking, and he's very upset, and so on and so forth. But he gets confronted by Katagiri, and then after there's some dialogue between these two, Ryuken, he decides, you know what, because he was gonna leave the Ishin estate, because he felt that he was unfit to actually lead the Quincy. And that's one thing I want to point out later on, but I'll get to it later. So basically, but after some talking with Katagiri, she convinces him to go back to the Ishin state, and he does that. And then we go flash forward in time, fast forward through time, where we have pieces of dialogue from Ishin, because he is narrating this entire flashback, where he states that how after high school, Misaka went to college, and of course she was allowed to leave the Ishin estate, and because they were like, yeah, you're half hollow now, so yeah, you can leave. And then at the same time, he actually, I believe it's called the Kurosaki Clinic. I could be completely wrong, but how their house is also a office where he does medical work on people. I think it's called the Kurosaki Clinic, but I'm not too sure. If I'm wrong, which I think I am, then correct me. But how he forms that, because apparently he did learn some medicine techniques when he was studying at the Reijutsu Academy. And Urahara, of course, polished him up because Urahara Kisuke is Urahara Kisuke. And then from that point on, it's very, he talks about, the main focus after that was him explaining how Misaka was literally, Masaki. Whoa, Misaka, Masaki, how she is literally the sun of his life, where he was very happy orbiting her, his life orbited around her. Masaki Kurosaki. And then from then on, we jump out of flashback back into real time, where we have Ishin explaining about how Ichigo came to where he is today, how he was born, and then meeting Rukia, he awakened his Shinigami powers, and after various fights, the hollow inside of him awakened and unleashed. And at that point in time, the soul link with his soul link with Ichigo, which I think transferred over when he was born. That's the way it appears to be. That severed, and his Reiatsu and his Reishi could no longer stop the hollow from protruding even further. And that's where he pretty much ends. And then from then on, he goes, so that's the way it is when it comes to that flashback. But then now we're gonna go into another flashback, explaining how on this day, I believe it's June 17th. I could be wrong. Let me check real quickly. Hold on. It was So June 17th, 9 years ago, on the same day today, Ichigo's mother passed away, and he's gonna tell him the real story as to how and why she passed away. And that's the chapter overall. So, Toshiba? Okay, alright. So basically, yeah, so the chapter is very simple. It's a very simple chapter. So let me explain. So let me talk about a few things here. All right, number one, when we have Ryuken talking to Katagiri, and he says, "Tell my aunt, tell my mother that I'm unfit to lead the Quincy." So that to me was kind of, it wasn't iffy. Like it does make sense in a way, but it's still vague in the sense that the Ishin family was never really noted to be like the leaders of the Quincy. At least I don't think so. Because I remember that they talked about their father and how he was at like some section, you know, like he was away, I believe, fighting. But I don't recall him being noted as the leader of the Quincy. So, and then even still, it's like, were the Quincy an organization that could be compared to the Gote 13 at that point in time? Where if Ryuken were to accept his right as the leader, would he be like equivalent to like the captain commander in Soul Society, like Yamamoto, or well, former Yamamoto, now Kyoraka? So, like, there's a Quincy system here, but Kubo hasn't really highlighted on the system. I mean, maybe if there's a flashback from Ryuken's standpoint about, you know, his father, because like his father is the grandfather of Ishin, Uryu, and I don't think Uryu ever said that his grandfather was like the leader of the Quincy. I don't think he ever said that. So like that just, you know, like that confused me. It's very, I mean, I guess it makes sense because the Quincy, they have been, you know, slaughtered in a way. You know what I mean? They've been fighting back against Shinigami, but, you know, they've lost a lot of their, they've lost a lot of Quincy's, pretty much, in a nutshell. They lost a lot in these battles against the Shinigami. And maybe there's so few now where the Ishin family is like the head family. Because when you think about it, Masaki's family, Masaki is the last Kurosaki. She's the last Kurosaki. So maybe the Ishin family was like the last prominent Quincy family. And thus, because Ryuken was the next head of the Ishin family, thus by birthright, he is also the leader of the Quincy's in whole. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously speculating. Obviously. But because Kubo hasn't really indulged in that Quincy system, then I'm going to continue to speculate until further notice. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking right now. Because at first it was vague, but after thinking about it, yeah, I can see it, but he hasn't been too specific about it, which he should be, because the Quincy's are a very dominant faction in Bleach. Yeah, in fact, right now, they're the most dominant faction in Bleach. They're the most dominant. So, he should explain more in detail. Maybe if we get a Yuha flashback. Because Yuha, he knows all about Kurosaki being a Quincy. And his mother. So, maybe he's somehow tied into this too. Particularly, I'm assuming with Uryu's grandfather. Ryuken's father. They may have a connection. I can see it. I can see it. Because people are saying that he is like the uncle of Uryu. I've gotten a few PMs on that. Like he's the uncle. I mean, he was back. I mean, I don't see like maybe like the great uncle, great grand uncle. I don't know, because he's been back. He's been there with Yamamoto 2,000 years ago. So who knows? But either way, moving on. Actually, wait. That's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't see what else I could talk about. I mean, I can make speculations about how she died, but he's gonna say it in next chapter of Bleach. So all we gotta do now is wait, pretty much. But actually no, there's one thing I want to say before I go. The whole entire thing about his aunt and like having like that weird mark on her leg, I'm going to assume that she died of an illness. That's what I'm assuming, because Kubo didn't touch upon it. He didn't touch upon it. The structure of the flashback was actually good up until like today's chapter, where they kind of like fast forwarded it to like, you know, and now we're going back to another flashback just to explain how she died. It's like, why are we going back to another flashback? Why don't we stay in flashback and continue on in a linear sense and not just, you know, deviate? and then go back again. Like, why? Like, why don't we keep the linear pattern here? So I'm not really pleased about the pacing and the structure of the. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not pleased about the pacing and the structure of the chapter, and the whole entire mystery about Ryuken's mother. I'm assuming that it's some kind of disease. It was some kind of disease that she contracted, and she can no longer fight because of that. Because I don't see why the Quincy. I mean, yeah, like I was thinking that why not go help out your husband in combat, but I mean, maybe because she couldn't because of that disease. I'm assuming it's a disease that was on her leg. That some kind of skin cancer or whatnot. Who knows? But because she is human, so if she's human, then she'll suffer from human ailments like cancer and so on and so forth. Tuberculosis, because that's like rampant in Japan. Like, oh my god, everybody. Well, no, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people that die in at least anime regards seem to always die from like tuberculosis. Like, it's like, bro, holy shit. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. So the chapter overall, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I'm not pleased with the pacing, but there was good progression. Like there was a lot of progression, a lot, but the pacing and the structure not to my liking. So I'll give it okay overall. And again, it's very simple, not really awe-inspiring, not really. But, it's way better. See, that's the one thing I must say, alright? Kubo in this arc is so much more consistent than he was in the previous arc or at the end of the Ironcross saga. He is so much more consistent. Where no longer are his chapters an average rating of bad or subpar. But now they're overall okay and good. So, I mean, because I remember I was talking to Joten about it. He even said that Joten, he believed that Kubo had the beginning of the story written out and like the end of it written out. Like he had those two parts like set in stone. And I think Elite Ace may have said the same thing, but I'm not too sure. I think so. But he had those two parts written out, planned out. But the middle, he was like, what the fuck? And I can see that because he's been very consistent. Very consistent. So I'll give him that. So I'm done. Kill Lightning. Be sure, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe as always. And I'm signing out. Peace! Have a nice day.